Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
What is up? Welcome into the GSMC Baseball Podcast. It is a Wednesday, middle of the week here. As of course, this podcast is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. Just a little bit of time here to bring you some baseball news and go over some scores and highlights from the past couple days in the Major League world, in MLB, all over the world, wherever we might find some games to talk about. Mostly here. We're done with the international games for now, as we did have that series in Mexico over the weekend. I think next year they did announce there's going to be there's going to be a Red Sox-Yankees series played at the Olympic Stadium in London. So just to let you guys know that, I think I did mention it a little bit a few episodes ago when they announced that there are going to be more games in other countries in general. I think there's going to also be a series. We're going to go back and have another series in Japan next year as well to start off the season. I know that the A's, I believe the A's and Mariners did it a couple years ago. We also had a series with the Dodgers and Padres. I don't know. I know definitely Dodgers. They played in Australia to start off the season a couple years ago as well. So we've done it before, kind of went away with it now. Robert Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, trying to get back towards building some international relationships and have some games in other countries. I know we've already had a game in Puerto Rico, a whole series in Puerto Rico, and then a whole series also in Monterrey, Mexico. So we're going to be doing that next year as well, but we're going to do it in London. We're going to go to the UK, across the pond. All right, time to get some scores from Monday and Tuesday, and some highlights from the series, from those games over the last few days. Let's talk about the Cubs. Actually, we're going to go to St. Louis first. We're going to go Twins and Cardinals. This was a win for the Twins, a shutout victory, as the rookie for the Cardinals, Fernando Romero, the talented right-hander, goes 6 shutout innings, only allowing 3 hits and 3 walks, struck out 9 over his 6 innings of work, and the Cardinals fell to the Twins 6-0. Home run, no home runs in this game, as it was a doubles affair for a bunch of doubles for the Twins, and the big standout for them in that game was Robbie Grossman going 3 for 4 with a couple RBIs and a run scored. So gotta like that for the Twins as they shut out the Cardinals. Astros beat up on the A's 16-2. Dallas Keuchel gets his second win of the year, as he actually pitched pretty well in this one. Went 8 innings, only allowed 1 run on 5 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts for Keuchel, and Tony Sipp got the last out in the 9th inning as well, as the A's couldn't keep the Astros bats in the park, as the Astros smash 3 home runs. George Springer, George Springer, Fisher, and then Gonzalez all hit home runs. Marwin Gonzalez hitting a home run as well in that game in Oakland. That game was in Oakland there, as the A's only could scratch across 2 runs, got big 16-2, got beat by 2 touchdowns there in Oakland. The Nationals and Padres went at it in San Diego. Nationals win this one. Steven Strasburg getting the win in his hometown. This one was a final score of 8-5. Strasburg went 7 innings, allowed 3 runs on 6 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts for the San Diego native. Trey Turner, Matt Adams hit 2 home runs. Turner went deep also off of Tyson Ross, as the Padres drop another, and they fall to 13. If they won that was on Monday. Lose another game. They're pretty far under. They're 10 games under 500, the Padres. Sorry, Padres. Cubs beat up on the Marlins in Chicago. 14-2 was the final in this one. Kyle Hendricks get another good start, his 3rd win on the season. Another good start for him, as he goes 8 innings, allows 2 runs on 6 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts. So really pitching to contact there for Hendricks. he only threw 98 pitches in 8 solid innings of work. And the Cubs also bringing the bats out to Wrigley as Bryant hit his 5th. Javier Baez hit his 10th. Ian Happ also went deep as well. So he actually hit 2 home runs, one off of Garcia and then one off of Cloyd, as the Marlins got beat up there in Chicago. Not a good start there for Yarlin Garcia, as his ERA still under 3, because it was so good before, but he only lasted 4 innings. He gave up 7 runs in those 4 innings of work. Mets squeak out one against the Reds, as the Reds try to come back on this one, but were not able. The Mets scored 7 runs in the first 5 innings, but the Reds they tried to squeak them back, but they could not, as the Mets bullpen was just able to hold it down. Homer Bailey takes the loss, and this one, and then Conlon for the Mets started this one, but he gets no decision. He only lasted 3 2/3 innings for the team from New York. And then the final game to talk about on Monday was the Phillies blanking the Giants. Eflin getting a big win for the Phillies, his first one of the year, as he is now 1-0. Phillies win this one 11-0, getting home runs from a couple home runs in this one. Herrera hit 2, and Hernandez and Santana went deep in this one too. So 4 home runs for the Phillies in that game, as they beat the Giants big time in that one. A couple of blowouts on Monday. On Tuesday, it was a little closer. Twins do beat the Cardinals again, holding the Cardinals to 1 run this time. Only one. Twins pitching doing very nicely, as Jake Odorizzi gets the win in this one. Goes 5 innings, allows 1 run on 2 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Did give up a home run in this one to Jose Martinez, but it didn't matter. That was the only run the Cardinals could score. Eduardo Escobar hit a home run as well, his 7th for the Twins, as they get the win there, scoring 7, beating up on the Cardinals 7-1 in St. Louis. The Cardinals were a hot team coming into this game, as they were looking to get into first place in the Central, as they actually had jumped into first place in the Central. Still there right now, even after taking the 2 losses. That's how hot they were, as they are now sitting at 20-14, with virtually tied with the Brewers at 21-15. It's kind of, one more win, one more loss kind of thing, where their winning percentages are very, very close. All right, next one to get to, Red Sox and Yankees. First game in Yankee Stadium against between these two teams of the season. Yankees squeaked this one out 3-2 over their bitter rivals. Giancarlo Stanton hit his 8th and 9th home runs in this game, and it was a Aaron Judge single that broke the tie in the bottom of the 7th inning to get the win for the Yankees. Luis Severino pitched very nicely, went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 6 hits, no walks, 11 strikeouts for Severino. You gotta like that, keeping the ball over the plate, and not getting too wild. No walks, 11 strikeouts, nicely done. Did get a no decision though, because of the obviously tied game. Drew Pomeranz also pitched pretty well. Did get a little dinged up, obviously, give the couple home runs to Giancarlo Stanton. Went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. Of course, Stanton did take him deep twice, but the Yankees were able to get that run in the bottom of the 7th inning after the Red Sox tied it up in the top half of that inning, and the Yankees get the win in that one, as Chapman got his 8th save on the year. Royals beat up on the Orioles as they scored 10 runs in the first inning and beat the Orioles 15-7. I believe they had 4 home runs in that first inning against Dylan Bundy. It was not a very good first inning for him, not one to write home about for sure. Bundy gave him a home run to Soler, Moustakas, Salvador Perez, and Alex Gordon. Basically all the big boppers, the 4 best players for the Royals, all went deep in this game, and that was all in the first inning, as Bundy did not last very long in this one. Didn't even get an out in the first inning, couldn't get out of that first inning, didn't even record it out. He pitched to 7 batters, couldn't get an out. That's tough right there for the young right-hander for the Orioles. Danny Duffy went 5 innings, allowed 1 run on 6 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Did give up a home run to Chris Davis, but he had a lot of run support in that one, and he was just fine. Before we get to the big game of the day, we're going to go through the rest of these first. The Nationals shut out the Padres 4-0 in San Diego in Game 2 of that series. Clayton Richard pitched pretty well but did get the loss. He went 8 innings, only allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, no walks, 8 strikeouts. But his counterpart was even better. Only went 6 2/3 innings, but still plenty good enough for the win. Allowed no runs on 2 hits, 8 strikeouts, no walks. Also, that was Jeremy Hellickson outdueling Clayton Richard and getting the win there in San Diego. No homers by either team in this one after a bunch of homers in the game previous, but the Nationals get the win there. Diamondbacks get a win in extra innings over the Dodgers in L.A. as it was a home run late in the 12th inning by Daniel Descalso after a home run in the bottom of the 9th inning. Tied the game. It was Kike Hernandez hit a home run in the bottom 9th inning to tie that up 5-5, but after a couple scoreless innings, the Diamondbacks were able to break through, getting that home run from Descalso with 2 outs in the 12th, and that pushed him ahead for the victory in that one. In Oakland, it was Lance McCullers Jr. going for the Astros, got his 5th win of the year as the Astros win this one 4-2 over the A's. McCullers pitched pretty well as he ended up outdueling Sean Manaea. McCullers went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts. Manaea also pitched decently, did get dinged up for a home run in this one. Went 5 2/3 innings, allowed 4 runs on 7 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts. That home run he gave up was to Alex Bregman, his 3rd of the year, a solo shot. And the Astros took this one by a couple runs, 4-2. In Colorado, same score there. Rockies win this one 4-2 as well. John Gray continues to pitch pretty well as the Rockies continue to roll on. This was their 6th win in a row as they beat the Angels and take the first game of the series there at the Mile High in the Mile High City in Denver. Interesting. A lot of low-scoring games, though. Still, I mean, they got the humidor. I guess you got to figure out maybe they haven't moved the fences back. The fences are already pretty deep there in Coors Field, but they still pop a lot of home runs out of there on the regular basis. So, I mean, got to get used to it, I guess, if you're a Rockies pitcher. But they hold the Angels to 2 runs in this one, and I don't believe there was only 1 home run in this game, and it was a Justin Upton 2-run homer. So that was the only runs the Angels scored. In this one, John Gray, give you his line. He went 7 innings, allowed no runs, 7 shutout innings, no runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts for the Rockies right-hander. Got to like that if you're a Rocky fan. They continue their winning streak. Pirates beat the White Sox 10-6 in Chicago, as the White Sox still looking for to get to double-digit wins. They're sitting at nine wins right now. The Pirates get their 20th victory on the season already, and for a team that wasn't thinking that they probably were going to think, fans going into the season, Pirates fans, you probably thought you were going to be more closer to that White Sox record, huh? I guess not. You're doing pretty good this season as they win this one in a pretty high-scoring affair, 10-6. Home runs for the Pirates. No home runs for the Pirates. They scored 10 runs without hitting a homer, but there were a couple home runs for the White Sox as Castillo hit a couple of them. Wellington Castillo hit 2 home runs for the White Sox in the loss. Cubs beat the Marlins again, 4-3. A little closer game, this one, as the Cubs got a run in the bottom of the 9th inning after tying the game in the bottom of the 6th. They were trailing most of this game. Got a run in the bottom of the 6th inning on a ground out by Victor Caratini. And then Caratini also got that fielder's choice and allowed Chris Bryant to score in the 8th inning as they tried to throw Bryant out at home plate, but he was able to slide in safely, and the Cubs got the win there. They had pretty much a bullpen affair in this one, as their starter for this game was Jen Ho Singh, and he only went 2 innings after allowing 3 runs, and the bullpen took care of the rest. Tigers beat the Rangers 7-4. Mike Fiers gets the win over Mike Minor. It was Corey Kluber taking the loss as the Brewers squeak one out against the Indians 3-2. Corey Kluber is only 2nd loss in the year as Suter gets the win over the Indians. I'm just going to get through these games really quick here as we come to the end of this segment. Reds beat the Mets 7-2. Castillo gets the win over Jason Vargas. And then the Braves shut out the Rays. The only run in this one was a home run by Ronald Acuna Jr., and it was an absolute bomb off of Blake Snell, who pitched very well. That was really the only ding on him, as he went 6 1/3 innings, allowed 1 run on 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. That home run by Acuna was the only run scored in that game. Nice pitching performance from Sean Newcomb as he continues to pitch well in his first season. Went 6 innings, allowed no runs on 2 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts for the young left-hander. All right, we'll be right back with the final game that I want to talk about in this one, and it was a very exciting game for the Mariners starting pitcher in this one, James Paxton. We'll talk about that right after the break.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
Welcome back. Second segment here, GSMC Baseball Podcast. As you noted, we had one game left to cover from yesterday, Tuesday, and it was a big one. It was a historic game, the third no-hitter already in the season. I know second. I mean, this is a whole. I'll probably talk about it more as we continue with this segment. The fact that I know the Dodgers threw a combined no-hitter in Mexico on Friday against the Padres. And then ended up losing the next 2 games. But still good, nice feat. Combined no-hitter, yeah. When you can throw two pitchers in there, I think it's a little more impressive what James Paxton did. A little more impressive, quite a lot more impressive, actually. To do what James Paxton did yesterday, north of the border, in his home country, on his home soil. They call him Big Maple because he is he's from Canada, and he went to Toronto and no-hit the Toronto Blue Jays on Tuesday night. No runs, no hits, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, and 9 lovely innings for James Paxton. You gotta like the way he did it too, as it was a couple nice plays by Kyle Seager at third base for the Mariners that got that finished up for him. Mariners ended up winning this game 5-0, but it's interesting. Now we already have two real no-hitters. I'm going to keep saying 2 no-hitters. I know there's been 3, but Sean Manaea and James Paxton's no-hitters are a little more special because they did them by themselves versus having 2 fresh relievers come in and finish off the game. Yeah, it's a little different. Categorize that a little differently, please. They do categorize it differently. But James Paxton, I mean, the guy was pitching lights out. I mean, it's just ridiculous how well he was spotting all those pitches. The left-hander, I mean, usually more of a kind of a ground ball strikeout guy. I mean, and that's exactly what he was. Remember, this is the guy who had the eagle land on him in, I think that was in Minnesota during opening day, and he just let it kind of just shove off his shoulder. And he obviously got some help. There's always a play. There's always the one big play. Got a diving play in center field from Didi Gregorius. Got a nice diving play by Kyle Seager down the left field line on third base. And then also, I mean, that was even against a fast runner. He got up and just tossed it right across, bounced it on the turf, and was not even close. And kept that no-hitter going. As you could see that Ryan Healy and Paxton were both pretty excited. The first baseman, that's Healy. When he caught that ball off the bounce, he was jacked. I mean, just absolutely jacked. These guys. I mean, the thing is, that's the thing. It's no hitters are not just. Yeah, it's about the pitcher. It's about obviously how nasty he is, how well he's pitching, but it's also a team effort. I mean, D. Gordon. There we go. D. Gordon makes a diving play in center field. Maybe if it's earlier in the game, we don't realize how big it is, but especially if it's like in the 4th inning. But I think the Seager play was in the, I want to say, like it was much later in the game, as Seager was dove down towards third base on the line, got up, made a nice play. But that was definitely when everybody knew that what was kind of going on. there in Toronto up north. So it's going to be pretty cool for them. And Ryan Healy also made a nice play in foul territory. I mean, every out matters. I mean, no hitter. Every out matters. Even those nice plays in foul territory, it's like, oh, it wouldn't have been a hit anyways, even if you dropped it. Yeah, but it's still another chance for the hitter to get a hit. I mean, yeah, 3 walks away, and then that would have been a perfecto. But that's to tell you that both of those things are pretty impressive. Perfectos and no hitters, only allowing 3 base runners in this whole game. As the Seattle did not make an error either. But as far as James Paxton, I think it was kind of. I mean, I think this the 5th no hitter in Mariners history. No, they had one. They had Felix Hernandez threw a no hitter. I think they've also had a perfect game. I think it was Philip. No, that was against them. I think. Yeah, that was against them. That was for the White Sox. I'm thinking of Philip Humber's no hitter. But yeah, no, that guy kind of dropped off. Or perfect game. It kind of dropped off the face of the earth right there. But that was against the Mariners. They've had one thrown against them. They've had one thrown for them. I mean, no hitters are fun. They keep on the edge of your seat. I've sat through an entire no hitter. I've sat through an entire perfect game. Lucky being a Giants fan, being able to get a couple of them throughout. A few of them in the last few years down there in San Francisco. But for a Mariners franchise, it's kind of had an interesting up and down feelings with their team being so. I mean, now you finally got your team where you want it. You got D. Gordon playing center. You got Cano. You got good young players with like Healy. You got your pitching staff kind of figured out. Like obviously James Paxton throwing the ball really well. You still got King Felix. I mean, kind of at the edge of his prime, other end of his prime. And then you got the Astros in your same division as you. And then obviously you got the Angels getting Ohtani. But look at that. The Mariners are 20-14. They're 1 game back of the Astros, but it's a logjam up there in the front. I mean, even the A's are 500 right now. Obviously, the doormat is the Rangers, but if you're a Mariners fan, you're like, oh god, we're finally good, and we're still not going to make the playoffs. We're still not going to make the playoffs. I mean, you got teams. I mean, yeah, Houston. The Angels. I was going to go other places, but I mean, stay in the American League West. It's pretty tough. It's going to be tough throughout the whole rest of the season. I mean, when you play, that's why there's some people who don't like the whole unbalanced schedule, that you play your division more. I mean, look at Cleveland. Cleveland is under 500 right now. They're 17-18, and they're in first place in their division. That's the Central. The difference between the American League Central and the American League West is ridiculous. Even the East, same thing in the East. The Toronto Blue Jays are 2 games over 500, 19-17, and they are 6.5 games back. Because that's how good the Red Sox Yankees are. They're both 25-10. I mean, that's just the disparity is ridiculous. And so that means that's the problem, is the fact that I can go into a whole spiel about the fact that we have an unbalanced schedule. There's goodness. I mean, there's goodness in it. There's always a good silver lining, of course, because you play your rivals a lot, and you get these lovely rivalry series like we have right now. Red Sox and the Yankees. You got to have the rivalry 5 times a season, so they play each other 19 times. That's how much they play each other. 19 times. And you play your division teams 19 times a year, and then you play your non-division. And I think it's in the. Obviously, you play one division. How the scheduling works in baseball, you play one division in interleague. So, like this year, the NL West is playing the AL West. Just happens to be how it is. They rotate each year. But the other teams in your league, like the National League, plays the other National League divisions only 6 times or 7 times if you get a 4-game series. Like, just an example, the Giants are playing the Phillies right now. 4 games. The Phillies are going to come to San Francisco later in the year, play 3 games, and that's it. 7 games. Boom. Done. Giants have 9. They play the Dodgers 10 times already. They get them 9 more times. 3 more series this year. So, I mean, 6 or 7 series every year for a division team. So, if you're the Mariners, you're like, oh, God, we have a no-hitter. We have all this good stuff happening. We got Ichiro coming and kind of quasi-retiring, and good story in our team, but we still can't get out of the dang division and get into the playoffs. I mean, they'd be lucky to get a wild card spot this year. I think Seattle's sitting. I mean, they're half game back on the wild card right now, because the Angels are the second wildcard team, and then whatever team is in first place in the East, whatever team is in second place in the East, the Yankees or Red Sox will be that second wild card. That first wild card, I bet you, because they're both 4 games up on the Angels right now. They're tied at first place, so they're technically both in the wild card. That's how it works in the standings. We're at 35 games, so next week we're going to be, next Monday we'll be at 40 games. And I'm really going to do a whole dissertation on the standings and see what teams are surprising, what teams have actually been able to sustain success over these 40 games. But I'm going to talk about divisions and how they have an unbalanced schedule. So going back to the Indians play the teams like Kansas. They play Kansas City 19 times. They play the White Sox 19 times. They play Detroit 19 times. The Twins are decent. They still play the Twins 19 times, and they still are a game under 500, and they're still in first place. They've lost 4 in a row. The Twins are hot on their heels, winning 5 in a row. Still 2 games under 500, but it's just kind of ridiculous looking at it now these days. That's just the American League. The National League actually. You look at these divisions right now. In every division but the West, there is 4 teams over 500. In the East, the top 4 teams are all over 500. In the Central, the top 4 teams are all over 500. The Cubs are in 4th place in the Central, and they're a game and a half back of first place. And then the same thing with the Mets are in 4th place. They're 2 games over, and they're 2 games back. And the whole game is back thing matters. It just matters how good the team in first place is, basically. Just an example, like the Diamondbacks they're 1 win, 1 loss differently. 1 game goes different. They're 25-10, just like the Red Sox and the Yankees are. They're 24-11 right now. So, usually, all right. Well, congratulations to James Paxton. Got his first no-hitter of his career. Was very nasty up there in Toronto yesterday. And we'll be going over some more stuff. I'm going to talk about the Yankees and the Rockies. We have a few more minutes on this side of the break, though. I'm just still ranting about the whole fact that this unbalanced division schedule is definitely going to go in favor of the Cleveland Indians this year. Just so that you guys know that. It's going to go in favor of the Indians, it's going to go in favor of the Indians, but also I think there's always a second layer to this stuff. It's going to put pressure on the Indians too. They're 17-18. Who have they? I know they just came off of the sweep. They're going to the Yankees. The Yankees just swept them. They just got beat yesterday. Who are they playing right now? I just went over that game. They lost to the Brewers, who are a good team. So they're playing the Brewers right now. They got 3 more against them, or 2. They could play. They might not. These interleague series, sometimes they do 2-game series because they want to get home and home. So they'll do a 2-game series at home, 2-game series on the road, make it a 4-gamer. And I actually kind of like that. I actually am in favor of that. Just to get, because like the Giants play the Astros this year, 2-2. I want to see the Astros. I want to go to the Astros game, and then they also, with the Astros fans, want to see the Giants. So you're only going to play them once, and might as well split it up. I think honestly, I think all the interleague series should be like that. The only interleague team you play every year, and you play them I think twice a year. You play a home and away series is your geographical rival. So like Cubs, White Sox, Yankees, Mets. I don't know who the Red Sox geographical rival is. Honestly, I have to think about it for a second there. Maybe the Phillies. I think it's the Phillies. The Giants, A's. I can keep going. Marlins, Rays, all that kind of stuff. So there's definitely different scheduling segment. James Paxton / scheduling segment right here. But so just stay tuned. We're going to come back real quickly, and we're going to do do some talk on the Yankees and the Rockies, not Rangers. Rangers are pretty terrible. Like I said, doormat. But the Rockies and Yankees, as they both are sitting. Well, Rockies unfortunately are still 3.5 games back because the Diamondbacks are that good. But the Rockies have won 6 in a row, and the Yankees have also won 7 in a row. And they're sitting tied now with the Red Sox with 2 more games to play just this week. And we'll be going over. I can look at who's pitching tonight. It's going to be Rick Porcello against Masahiro Tanaka. We'll be going into that game in depth in the final segment when we highlight the games for today and Thursday. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with some talk on the Rockies and Yankees and talk about their streak and see if they're going to be able to unseat the teams ahead of them in first place. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast, third segment of the day today on a Wednesday as we are getting you through the middle of the week. This segment we're going to talk about more Yankees, more Yankees, and the Rockies too. We got to throw in the Rockies there. They are another hot team in the league. There's a couple of hot teams right now in the league as we go through. The Twins have won, like I said, Twins have won 5 in a row. Yankees won 7 in a row. And the Rockies have won 6 in a row. So, got to look at them. Rockies actually surprising. Looking at their run differential, you think with a 6 games over 500, you have a plus run differential. They're actually minus 8 right now on this young season, but they'll turn that around. They just hit the ball too much. As far as the Rockies want to run through their team leaders as we come close to the 40-game mark on the season, but they're knocking on that old door behind the Diamondbacks. I think they're waiting for any kind of slip. Remember, these are the two teams, the Rockies and Diamondbacks, that played in that wild card game in last year. That was in Arizona. The Diamondbacks squeaked that one out after their pitcher Robbie Ray got a triple that knocked in a couple of runs and took the lead for the Diamondbacks. But as far as the Rockies, they're looking pretty good right now. It's the pitching that's actually done them pretty good. Chad Bettis leading the team with a 2.05 ERA. They also got Kyle Freeland and John Gray. John Gray is still trying to get that ERA down. He got roughed up in a start a few weeks ago, but pitched well yesterday. So I like that. Gray also leading the team in strikeouts with 49 strikeouts already on the season. But as far as hitting, the Charlie Blackmon continues to rake. I mean, this guy, I thought he maybe would be a big guy on the try and go after a big contract over the offseason this year when it comes to free agency. But he signed an extension with the Rockies, I think, right at the beginning of the season. He signed a big extension. He has 4 home. He's leading the team with 11 home runs on the year, and is up there in the ranks of the top guys. So he signed an extension, a 6-year extension on April 4th. So that was right when the beginning of the season, like I said, and he's going to be a Rocky pretty much looks like his whole career as he's found a home there in Denver. I mean, why would you leave? Why would you leave if you have that uppercut swing, you hit the ball up? They have I wouldn't call it a short porch in right field. They got the tall wall there, but it is a shorter porch, and even with that high altitude, the ball flies out of there in Colorado at Coors Field. 11 home runs for Blackmon. Nolan Arenado leading the team with a 315 batting average. You'll like that. Arenado always will get on there with the RBIs and the average. We'll see that when the home runs are going to come around. He's sitting at 8 right now. That's all right for them, but I mean the fact that they've won 7 in a row. Who they're taking down the last week, and that's basically a whole week of winning. You gotta like that when you win 7 games in a row, a whole week of winning. As they went in They went into Chicago, took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs in Chicago. Then they went to New York and swept the Mets over the weekend. So that's basically, what happened. They took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, swept the Mets over the weekend. I mean, pitched very well in that game. Only allowed 9 runs over the whole series. The big pitching performance was that Saturday. That Saturday game, a 2-0 win. I talked about that. It was the Chad Bettis start, obviously. And Arenado hit a home run that went and hit the apple out in center field at Citi Field. But yeah, no, you got to like that. If you're a Rocky fan, you got Chad Bettis playing against a tough team, tough lineup, winning team. Mets are playing pretty well still. And he goes 7 shutout innings. So, I mean, that was last week, and then they get another good start on Sunday, too. So, I mean, they're just backing up their starts. That's the problem. They haven't been able to string as many in the past. Why they're not talked about as like a top team in the league quite yet. They haven't sustained their pitching, and now they're finally getting a rotation where they have the top 3 guys with Gray, Freeland, and Bettis up at the top of their rotation, where they're actually getting some consistency, and then also have games where if the bats aren't coming through. I mean, if the pitching isn't coming through, the bats can back it up, and that's what they did on Friday night too in Flushing. So they've won the high-scoring games. They can now win the low-scoring games. Obviously, when they're playing at home, they're never out of the game. I mean, I've seen games where they're down by 5 or 6 runs in the 7th inning, 8th inning, and they come back and tie, and then send it to extras and can win because that's how well they play in their home ballpark. I mean, right now they're only 6-7 at home. They're playing really well. They're 15-8 away from home. So that just goes to show you that maybe that's their strength this year is the pitching. I mean, the pitching is going to get watered down a bit at home, obviously due to the air. But they played a lot of road games already this year. I mean, they've only played 13 home games, and they played. I mean, well over 20 home games, 23 home games. I mean, away games. They've won more away games than they've actually had games at home this season, which is pretty interesting. Just the disparity there. That's crazy. They're probably gonna have a couple home series coming up here. As looks like they're in one right now. A 6-game homestand, and they go on the road another longer trip, come home for a couple long homestands, and then they're gonna have a lot of home games in July. It looks like July they'll make that up. They only have a handful of games on the road in July. Just looking at their schedule, over the next few weeks here, a few months, as well for the Rockies. A little outlook for them, trying to forecast where they might go. Is right now they are in they're in the medium spot in the schedule right now. As they're playing the Angels, and they're going to host the Brewers, which are a tough team, honestly, especially even on the road. Brewers like to playing good ball right now, as they're basically the same record as the Rockies. They do the exact same record right now as the Rockies. Is 21-15, and then 21-15 is that that's a good record right now for both of those teams. And then they go on the road, 2 in San Diego, then they play the Giants 4-gamer in San Francisco over the next weekend. So before going to LA. All right. That's enough about the Rockies. Let's go over to the Yankees. Bronx Bombers finally getting their stuff going. Obviously, they started the season off a little even. I mean, it was even keeled, basically. They were 8-8 through the first 16 games, and now they have taken off like bandits and peeled off, 6 wins in a row. Gotta like that. Or 7 wins in a row, sorry. 7 wins in a row after getting the win yesterday at home against the Red Sox. And finally getting some hitting. Obviously, they bring up Gleyber Torres from the minor leagues. They still got. I mean, the thing is, they've made some. You got to give Brian Cashman some credit. I mean, he's made some trades. I mean, he made the trade for. They had Chapman, traded Chapman away, got prospects for him, and got Chapman back. So now they have Chapman and the guy they traded him for. In the roster in the lineup right now for the Bronx Bombers, obviously having Giancarlo Stanton finally heat up as he hits 2 home runs last night, and like I said, they're gonna play that lineup pretty much to nauseam. I mean, I think the thing is about the American League. Oh, Aaron Boone has got a tough thing to deal with him in the American League. I mean, guys, come on, it's the American League. I could literally probably. The pressure of New York is tough, but a bold statement of the day. I could go manage the Yankees. I bet you if you had your best friend who's a baseball nerd like I am, could go manage the Yankees. You fill up the lineup card. You fill up the lineup, lineup card, and you go and just let them play because they're just too talented. When you have a lineup like that, like who they run out there yesterday against the Red Sox, looking at their lineup, just Brett Gardner, very good left fielder. Got obviously Judge, Gregorius, Stanton, Sanchez. That's a pretty nice little middle of the order there. They actually had Aaron Hicks play center field today, that day, instead of having Stanton play the outfield. Usually Gardner will play center and Stanton will play left, but they had Stanton as the DH in this game. See, you got the DH. Gotta love the DH. Gotta love the DH in the American League. I'm honestly a National League guy, just FYI, but you gotta love the DH in the American League. It makes that so nice to just get another bat in there. You have Giancarlo. Basically, that's the difference. You want Giancarlo Stanton hitting or your pitcher. It's two different leagues, and obviously they even it out when you're playing interleague. Obviously, it just matters what park it is in right now. Like we have a bunch of interleague series going on right now. So the Angels, they lose their DH this week because they're playing in Colorado. The Braves get a DH this week because they're playing in Tampa Bay. But it's always that's kind of a challenge too for I think it's a National League a challenge for the National League when they're playing in an American League park, because you have guys, DHing is weird. DHing is really weird. You don't play the field. You're not in the rhythm of the whole game. You kind of just go up 4 times. You're on the plate 4 times in the game. That's all you get. You don't get to feel the ball in your glove. You don't get to run around in the outfield. That's just a big part of it for a lot of National League guys who like to feel loose. And you don't get that. It's like last night, who DH'd for the? I bet you Matt Adams DH'd for the Braves. I could put money on that. Jose Bautista. Okay, well then you got Jose Bautista DHing. That's nice. You got an ex American League player who probably DH'd a few times for the Blue Jays. But just an example. Sometimes you just don't have a guy on your team that's going to be that DH, and you got to have one now, especially with all the interleague stuff we have going on all season. But it's just nice. Giancarlo, you don't feel like playing the field? We'll just slot you in at DH. In the National League, it's like, nope. If you want to hit, you got to go out there. You got to go out there. Why do you think Ohtani decided to go sign with an American League team? I'm like, there's no chance he's signing with the National League team. None chance, because he wants to hit and he doesn't want to have to go play outfield or whatever, or first base if he wants to hit, and he's only going to hit. It's a perfect situation. The DH is designed just for that. It's perfect. He can go hit 3 days a week. When he doesn't want to hit, he sits in the field. He sits in the dugout, or he goes and pitches, basically. So, I didn't even talk about him, actually. I kind of forgot to go. I think I didn't even go over Ohtani on. He pitched on Sunday. Didn't we talk about his game on Sunday? He pitched all right. I didn't even do that. I'm off the Ohtani train, honestly. He's kind of just been integrated into the old fabric of Major League Baseball. Did he get the win on? Just to let you know, did get the win on Sunday up in Seattle. He was pretty sharp. I'll give you his line really quick. I think I just forgot to go. Did I not give that one? He went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 6 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts to give a home run to Ryan Healy. But that's just. There you go. There you go. There's his line for him. But the Yankees, continue to roll on. Obviously, have the big series right now with the Red Sox. Just continuing about the Yankees. This was supposed to be the Yankee segment. I kind of just went on my little DH banter because I just get annoyed. But you got to give the Yankees credit. They have won 7 in a row, and their 7 wins are against the Astros, the Indians, and the Red Sox, all leading their division. So they swept the Astros in Houston. They actually didn't sweep them. There was a 4-game series. Sorry, the Astros did get one of those games. I didn't notice that, but they took 3 out of 4 from the Astros in Houston, swept the Cleveland Indians, and then took game 1 of 3 from the Red Sox, and then they got a series at home against the A's over the weekend. That'll actually be an interesting series. The A's are an interesting little team. Obviously, always kind of known as that Major League AAA team kind of thing, where they just don't really, they develop all these great players from their minor league system and then they just trade them away, like Ryan Healy or Josh Donaldson or Sonny Gray, who actually isn't pitching that great, but we'll see. Is Sonny going to go against his former team, or is he pitching today? He's not pitching in this series, so he'll likely pitch over the weekend against his former team. We'll see how he does, and I'll talk about that on Monday. How Sonny Gray does for the Yankees against the A's. But yeah, you got to look at the A's. Obviously, like I said, they're in a tough division. You got to play the Angels, got to play the Astros, got to play the Mariners all 19 times each. I mean, do the quick math right there. Quick math. Where's my quick math? It's like 75 games against really tough teams. That's like a quarter of your season, basically, or a third of your season against tough teams. I mean, at least maybe you see them a lot, so you're going to maybe get a couple, scratch one across, you get used to it. But, I mean, still, those are tough teams. That's how some of these teams get bogged down in the bottom of the division. Yeah, I've already gone over my whole unbalanced schedule rant as well. Unbalanced schedules. Problems. Obviously, we like our rivalries, but we also like to have evenly put schedules. Like, don't tell me that the Indians are going to have an even schedule to the A's or Seattle or the Giants playing or the Dodgers or the Rockies, anybody playing in a tight division, or the Nationals who now have to play we'll see how the Phillies and Braves fare over the long haul of the season. But we're almost to 40 games. We're 5 games away from 40 games. That's a good test. That's going to be a litmus test right there. And I bet you those teams are still going to be at least 3-4 games over 500 and just fine. So, the Nationals finally have squeaked over 500 with 3 wins in a row at 20. They're now 20-17, but we'll see how those teams above them, the Nationals, can leapfrog them by the All-Star break, or maybe it'll take them all year. But we'll see. Well, obviously, I'll be here to let you guys know. We'll be here all along the way. All right, that's it for this segment. We're going to come back with the final segment of the day today and give you the pitching matchups for the next 2 days and give you some insights and highlight and stuff what I'm thinking is going to happen. My prediction segment coming up after the break.
Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
All right, welcome back. Final segment of the day today on a Wednesday, as we're going to go over the games for today and tomorrow as we get through the back end of this week in Major League Baseball. Just a few games to highlight, as we have a slate of only 14 games today. For some reason, there's only 14 games on a Wednesday. I don't know why. It should be 15. Interesting. We'll have to figure that out. And then 10 games tomorrow. So, okay, just to let you guys know, I'm just going to highlight some of these pitching matchups we got coming for you out in Los Angeles. It'll be Patrick Corbin going against Alex Wood. Corbin is a perfect 4-0 with a 2.15 ERA. Alex Wood still looking for his first win of the season and looking to pitch deeper than he did last week. He did have some hamstring cramps that cut his outing short last week. Patrick Corbin is absolutely disgustingly dirty this year, as he's like I said, 4-0, already has a complete game shutout on the season, has 60 strikeouts in 46 innings of work. So you gotta like that. If you are a Diamondbacks fan, continue to roll on, as they will be playing out in Los Angeles tonight. In San Diego, it'll be Joey Lucchesi against Joey Lucchesi against Gio Gonzalez, a pair of left-handers, as they both are pitching pretty well in the season. But Gio's 4-2 with a 2.33 ERA, 42 strikeouts, and then very similar over on the other side, 3-2 with a 3.13 ERA and 40 strikeouts for the opposing left-hander, as it'll be a lefty battle in San Diego. In Tampa Bay, it'll be Julio Teheran against Ryan Yarbrough, the left-hander for the Rays, as they back up Blake Snell with another lefty. was very nice in his last start. He's only 7 outs away from a no-hitter against the Mets, but he got broken up late in that one as he's 2-1 with a 3.65 ERA, 35 strikeouts for Tehran. In Toronto, after that no-hitter last night, it'll be Wade LeBlanc, a lefty, for the Mariners against another left-hander. We're 3 games in. We already got 2 lefty battles. Jaime Garcia for the Blue Jays. Jaime is 2-2 with a 6 ERA and the 32 strikeouts on the season. LeBlanc still looking for his first decision of the year as he's 0-0. In Baltimore, it'll be Eric Skoglund against Andrew Cashner for the Orioles. A lefty versus a right-hander. Skoglund for the Royals is 1-2 with a 6.84 ERA, 25 strikeouts. And Cashner looking for his second win as well, as he's 1-4 with a 4.89 ERA. Both pitchers looking to get back on track. The big series of the week in New York, like I said, Rick Porcello, perfect record on the year, 5-0 with a 2.14 ERA, 46 strikeouts, as he's been absolutely unhittable. Getting a lot of ground balls, getting a lot of strikeouts with that sinker ball. You gotta love that. Obviously, good pitch to use against these Yankees that have a lot of uppercut swings, like to elevate the ball, get it out of that ballpark in New York. He's going to be facing Masahiro Tanaka, who's been up and down. Has won the last of. The Yankees have won the last 3 games he's started. He hasn't gotten a decision in all of those, but he's 4-2 in the year with a 4.39 ERA, 42 strikeouts for Tanaka. In Oakland, it'll be Garrett Cole against Daniel Megden. I always say his last name wrong. It's Daniel Megden. Megden, as he's still winless in his 3 starts, but he's 2-3 in the year with a 4.3 ERA and 29 strikeouts. Has pitched well at home. He's only allowed 3 runs in his past 19-plus innings of work. Garrett Cole pitching very well. This is a guy where that whole thing with the pine tar, Trevor Bauer trying to say, Garrett Cole's putting pine tar on his fingers, getting a more effective spin rate. I'll go over spin rate maybe in another show, but obviously it's just the rotations of the baseball, and there are stats backing up the fact that when there is a higher spin rate on whether it's a fastball or a curveball or whatever, there is a lower batting average on higher spin rates. Obviously, spin rate is a big deal when it has that correlation, but it definitely looking like Cole is going to continue his hot start on the season. He's 3-1 with a 1.42 ERA, already 77 strikeouts on the season for Cole, as he has been using all of his pitches very effectively. Out in the Mile High City, it'll be another game for interleague matchup for the Angels and the Rockies. Tyler Anderson, the left-hander, going against Jaime Badia. Badia, most known for that 21 pitch at bat he went against Brandon Belt when he fouled a bunch of pitches off a couple weeks ago. But Badia did pitch last week and get his second win of the season last Thursday against the Orioles, as he did allow only 2 runs over 6 innings, as the rookie will be out pitching against a little tougher lineup at a tougher ballpark. We'll see how he fares a mile above sea level. Out in Chicago, it'll be the Marlins and the Cubs going again. Jose Quintana against Wei-Yin Chen, a couple of left-handers. Again, another third lefty matchups of the day already, as both guys are going to be looking to get their ERAs down a bit. They're both a little bit under 5, and Chen only 5 strikeouts in the year, with Quintana only 25. They're not big strikeout guys. Out in Chicago, it'll be Trevor Williams against Ronaldo Lopez for the White Sox. Pirates and Red Sox in the interleague series. In Texas, it'll be Francisco Liriano, the left-hander, going against Bartolo Colon, a pair of veteran pitchers going for these American League teams, the Tigers and the Rangers, in Arlington. And Liriano looking for his 4th win of the year. So he's 3-1 with a 2.97 ERA. A little bright spot for a tough Tigers team. It's only 4 games under 500. They could get better. But Bartolo Colon has been a nice little story, as he's 1-1 with a 3.29 ERA. Every time he pitches, something seems to happen that's pretty cool. Out in the Brewer land, it'll be a nice, cool little start. It's going to be Junior Guerra against Carlos Carrasco for the Indians. He's going to be going. He's 4-1 with a 3.95 ERA, 39 strikeouts for Carrasco already on the season. Looking for his 5th win of the year. Guerra looking for his 3rd win. He's 2-2 right now. In Cincinnati, Zach Wheeler against Sal Romano. Both guys looking for their 3rd win of the year. And then the final game in Philadelphia, Stratton for the Giants against Nick Pivetta for the Phillies. All right. I don't know what team is not playing today. I'll have to figure that one out. There's only 14 games today. There should be 15 games at all times. Always 15 games. Well, now this is going to bother me when I want to try and figure out what team isn't playing today, or what two teams aren't playing today for some reason, whether there's a rain out or something. But there's only 14 games scheduled. I'll have to figure that out. I'll come back in just a second. But let's go over the games on Thursday. Like this today is obviously limited schedule due to the fact that teams have off days on Thursdays. It'll be in the final game in Atlanta. It'll be Caleb Smith against Mike Foltynewicz. Both guys looking for their third one of the season, and both of them have ERAs. I mean, look at these lines. These are very similar. Foltynewicz is 2-2 with a 3.65 ERA, 43 strikeouts. Caleb Smith 2-3 with a 3.67 ERA. Their ERA is literally 0.02 off of each other, and 48 strikeouts. So 5 strikeout differential there. In San Diego, it'll be Jordan Lyles against Mike Mikolas, as those two teams will be starting a weekend series. Padres and Cardinals. Lyles looking for his first decision on the year. Mikolas has been perfect. He's a 4-0 with a 2.7 ERA, 31 strikeouts for the Cardinals right-hander. Cincinnati Reds will be starting a series in L.A. as Tyler Mahle will be going for the Cincinnati Reds. The Dodgers have not announced a starter yet. Dodgers are reeling. They're 5 games under 500 right now. Twins and Angels will be getting a series started in Los Angeles. Jose Barrios will be going for the Twins. He's 3-3 with a 3.98 ERA. Angels have not announced a starter yet. There's a couple teams that are still kind of figuring out what they're going to do, even tomorrow. The Nationals and the Diamondbacks have both not announced a starter yet. The Brewers haven't announced a starter yet. It's going to be Marquez going for the Rockies. Jermaine Marquez for the Rockies tomorrow. It'll be Mike Leake against Jay Happ up in Toronto, Seattle, and the Blue Jays going for that final game of that series. The Kansas City Royals, it'll be Ian Kennedy against Chris Tillman there in Baltimore as they finish up that series in the Camden Yards. Both guys looking for their second win on the year. As they both Tillman has not been pitching well at all this season. He's 1-5 with the 9.24 ERA on the season. Kennedy's been up and down. Hasn't gotten the win column. The win column hasn't been that great for him. ERA has been nice. He's still sitting below 3. Gotta like that. The final game of the rivalry out in New York, it'll be Eduardo Rodriguez against CC Sabathia, a battle of lefties who are undefeated on the year. They're both sitting at 3. Well, one's 3-0. Rodriguez is 3-0. Sabathia 2-0. Sabathia, clearly the better ERA. He's 1.39 right now. He's actually been pitching very nicely. A little renaissance action for CC Sabathia. In Philadelphia, the final game of the series against the Phillies, the Giants will be putting out Ty Block against Vince Velasquez for the Phillies. Block is 3-3 with a 3.60 ERA, 22 strikeouts, coming off his strongest start of the year against the Braves, where he went 7 2/3 innings and only allowed a couple runs for the Braves, and then Vince Velasquez 2-4 with a 5.14 ERA, with 38 strikeouts for the Phillies. All right. That'll do it for that one. Still don't know who's not playing today. I don't know why there's only 14 games on a Wednesday. We could actually look on Tuesday and see what series is not continuing. That's what I'll do, as we have a couple minutes here. This is gonna bother me. It's gonna bother me. Cleveland Nationals are playing. Well, it's not good. This is not good podcast. I'll figure it out myself. I'll let you guys know on Friday what's going on with the scheduling in Major League Baseball, or it'll just come to me. It'll pop out as I look at the standings. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'd have to go division by division and see which team is missing. Marlins are playing. Every time I think of a team, they're playing. All right. That'll wrap it up for today's show. Today we went over the no-hitter from James Paxton. We went over some scores from Monday and Tuesday, gave you some pitching lines and home run highlights. We talked about the GH and how much how much difference it is between the league and American League and the National League. Talked about the Yankees a bit, Giancarlo Stanton, and also give you my little ranty spiel about how the unbalanced schedule will favor certain teams over other teams depending on how strong their division is, obviously. So like I talked about, right now, more often than not, the division, maybe that's just because it's the beginning of the year, things haven't shaken out. We've had a lot of games, teams play their division rivals a lot in the beginning of the season, so you kind of beat up on one team. But there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the 6 divisions are pretty much all jam-packed to the top. Maybe the American League East and the National League West might be a little different because this is how good the Diamondbacks have been and how good the Red Sox and Yankees have been. But everywhere else, it's pretty packed. As like the fourth place team in a lot of these divisions are only within 4 games away out of first place, sometimes even less. Like the Mets have now dropped into fourth place in the East, and they're only 2 games back. So you're never out till you're out. Like I said, next week, a 40-game mark, we'll really go into these standings and see which teams have been surprising, which teams have been underachieving expected or achieving as expected. We don't know. So until then, everybody watch some baseball, enjoy the games today and tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday to recap those, and I'll tell you who didn't play today, and we'll figure it out. Why there's only 14 games on a Wednesday. That's not supposed to happen. But yeah. We'll figure it out. And we'll see you on Friday. Everybody enjoy your week. See ya.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.